ocean flow. Their faces etched with sweat, their hearts aglow. Industrial souls forged in fire's embrace.
Welcome to another episode of Industrial Souls, where we try to get to know the people behind the machinery. Put down your pretzels, people, and prepare, because this week I am proud to present the positively perfect Priscilla Patricy from Pipeline Plastics. And I don't even believe I could get that out without spitting on my mic, but I managed to do it. So this is going to be a great show. So hang on. Priscilla's a lot of fun, and you're going to enjoy this combo. Things are about to get industrial. Welcome, Priscilla.
So happy to be here, John. Thank you so much.
Yeah, glad to
I've
have you.
been watching your show, and it looks like it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited that you reached out to me. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said yeah. It is a lot of fun, and you're a lot of fun actually. So I thought it was a good mix, and I had to capitalize on all the P's.
You did great with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. Yeah, my boss actually, who was making jokes because I recently got married and my name, last name changed to Priscilla Walker. And he's like, you have to keep it PP from PP. So I'm going to keep it professional on there for LinkedIn for a while and on my emails and all that. But it's pretty funny how that worked out.
Actually, I was wondering that because I knew you had got married, but then I noticed you hadn't changed it on LinkedIn. So that's why I went with Patricy. But also, you have the P factor. So that's
yes, I got the P factor going for me. So I'm going to keep it going for a little while.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. So congratulations on getting married, by the way. When was it?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
When did that happen? It was this summer, right?
Oh, yeah, that was June 29th. So very recently, under 2 months. Yeah.
Where'd you guys go for your honeymoon?
We went to St. Bart's, so it's south of Barbados, north of St. Lucia. It was a lot of fun. It's about a 30-mile long island. So by the third day, we had pretty much seen everything, but there are about 9 beaches there. So if you ever get the chance to go, I would definitely go to Celine Beach. And the French food is fantastic. So beautiful weather too. It's technically off season in July, but it was nice. It wasn't as crowded, so I definitely recommend going around that time.
Yeah, the Caribbean. That's the Caribbean. So that's lovely. I mean,
Yes.
that area, that whole area, the water is so warm and beautiful and lovely. You can't go wrong with any of those islands down there, but you picked a good one.
No, not at all. Yeah. I hope to go back soon for a girls' trip or something.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So just to get started real quick, why don't you just take a couple of minutes and for people who don't know you or maybe seeing you for the first time on this show, give us a little introduction to your career history and how we got to this point where we are today.
Sure. So I've always been very sales driven. My dad owned his own company when I was younger, and he actually sold and made his own boating products. So they were straps, they were called Gorilla Grip, and they would hold the fenders on the boat lines in place. So when you docked the boat, it wouldn't smash the boat, it would hit that fender. So I was going to trade shows since I was little, maybe 5 to 8 years old. And I would watch him talk to people, network with people, and he was just a really, really likable guy. And that really stuck with me. So I went to college for business, and then I actually majored in psychology, obviously the study of people. So that can only help with sales there. But I started out working at Audi in customer relations. I really enjoyed that. And then I went over to logistics, and I was working with a third-party logistics company for about 3 years. And I started to go from the business development side to the account management side. And what I really liked about the account management side is I was really just there to keep the people happy on the current books and make sure that they had everything they needed and that they weren't planning on leaving. So it was really just attending to people and making sure everything's going smoothly, which I really enjoyed. Now, doing that, you really get to know a lot of different people. I've always worked the same territory too. So the Cleveland, Ohio area, knowing a lot of different companies has been fantastic. And it really develops your skills, your social skills. So after that, I ended up leaving that company to go work for a current customer who was a thermoplastic hose manufacturer called Dynaflex in Mentor, Ohio, kind of close to home. Right when I hit into manufacturing, that was the start, and it was a lot of fun, very interesting. It was challenging. I was one of few women in the industry, and it felt really good. I felt like I was making an impact there. And then from there, I was offered a position at Brennan Industries, where they did the stainless steel adapters. Obviously, you know all about Brennan. That's actually how John and I met, for everyone listening. We both worked together there. Had a great time at Brennan, learned a lot, developed a lot of skills there too. Again, one of few women at that place as well. And then from there, moved on to selling pipe, HDP polyethylene pipe right now. And the positions changed. You know, I went from sales to regional sales to director. And obviously, next step in the future, hopefully by the time I'm 40, I'm 33 right now, maybe VP of sales. So I definitely have some goals in mind, and I'm really digging the manufacturing side of things for sure.
And the sales side of things. I guess I did not realize like how deep your sales experience is, like how many different places, even like you said, kind of from childhood, how many different places and how wide of a sales experience you have had in manufacturing. And that's actually super interesting.
Yeah. Yep. I've always taken an interest, and I think what really helps, especially when you're young, a lot of people going into college, they're not sure what they want to do, so they kind of bounce around a little bit. But I really did know that I wanted to be in sales and in business for a very long time. And I did have that background. My brother too, he owns his own marketing firm. It's called Anchor 52, for example. You know, we're just very entrepreneurial minded and sales driven. So it's nice to kind of have that to fall back on.
Yeah, for sure. And we got a little afternoon guys from Nick Rayburn. Hey, Nick, thanks for tuning in. So I just wanted to dive a little more into one thing that you mentioned in passing there in your career journey, being a woman in a male-dominated arena, basically. And so I just wanted to know what insights, I guess, you've learned as a woman in a sort of like, I hate to say this, but like as a woman in a man's world, like what insights that you have gained through that process, that you have spent so much time and effort in your career working in that kind of circumstance, and what you might say, for instance, to some other ladies who are out there, or even younger women who are out there and thinking about going into a career that seems like such a male dominated thing. What your take on that is, and what your kind of maybe encouraging message or point of something you've learned from experience would be.
Sure. I would definitely say don't shy away from it just because it's male driven. There's certainly a lot of advantages to being one of the few females. And to be honest with you, John, it seems to be growing and growing every year. It does seem to be that more women are seeing an interest in the manufacturing side and industrial side. So you're not ever going to be alone. I mean, I'm involved, and like I said, many more women are involved. It was a little intimidating at first, especially, for example, working for a manufacturer. learning the product and really understanding the process when you're new at the company, that's when it can be a little bit of a challenge, but everyone's so willing to help. And the guys that are involved, like the engineers and the people that have been there 20 plus years, they're the most willing to help. So while it seems intimidating at first, it's really not. You just got to talk to a few people, get to know a few people. And after about 5 minutes of conversation, you're going to start to really connect and see that it's not such an intimidating world. For
Yeah,
sure.
those are great, encouraging points here. And you have some fans also. So here's Jeremy. You're an asset to the
Hey.
industry. Yeah,
Oh, thank you, Jeremy.
yeah. And she is agreeing. As another woman in manufacturing, actually, even just in marketing for manufacturing is the same. You know, there's even little groups in subsections like that, where it's like the women band together because you guys are the minority, but doing great work out there and standing together. And I don't feel like anybody ever communicates like, oh, this is unfair or hard or negative. It's more just like these are different kinds of opportunities and we're pursuing them and having success. And I think the message is just get out there and try it and don't let fear kind of like
Yes,
stop you, right? Would you agree with that?
absolutely. Yes. Like I said, don't be intimidated by it. And people are very welcoming and they want you to be successful. And if that's
Yeah.
not the case, you might not be at the right place.
Yeah.
But generally,
Um,
that's the case.
and if they don't want you to be successful, that applies to everybody. That's not even just a ladies versus guys thing. It's like places like that tend to be like that for everybody. So yeah, time to move on, most likely. Something else I
Yeah.
wanted to tap into was your psychology background, which I literally just learned about today, because I also have a degree in psychology, history and psychology, studying people, and
Mhm.
I learned that you also have that. So I'm curious to hear how you would say that your psychological background, let's say, has helped you. How has it made a difference for you? And do you think it has helped you?
Yeah, I think it certainly adds value to the sales process. So in being interviewed, some people look at the resume and they'd be like, "Oh, psychology. Why are you applying for sales?" And I think it's so funny because it relates directly to sales. It's the study of people.
Totally.
It's knowing people. People buy you. So, having that active listening skill, having the problem solving skill, you're not going to find all of that when you're getting a business degree. So that psychology degree only inflates the business side. So that's why I found an interest in it. And I'm so glad I did it because a lot of salespeople, they're known to be talking, 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 and they don't step back and just listen to what's going on. So that's really trained me very well to be successful.
Also, as somebody who has that similar kind of educational background, I would say it's also important because it helps you to think about how other people are thinking and not just how you think, to get out of your own head or get out of your own industry and be able to see things from
Right.
other people's perspectives because you've spent some time studying other people's perspectives. And that's super critical in marketing and sales, the ability to just really
Yeah.
understand their position.
Yeah, honestly, and even when negotiating, it helps a lot because you can read the room. You can see what their gestures are, what they're doing with their hands, what they're doing with their face. If they're looking at their phone and watch, you're picking up on those cues. Yeah,
What
exactly.
they're doing in the room with their hands, yeah.
I'd be concerned. But no, it's been extremely helpful. So I'm so glad I did it. And I honestly recommend it to people that, maybe you started and you have your minor in business, and you're like, well, what next? Do I want to keep it business or do I want to verge over to psychology? It's been fantastic. It helped me so much.
Yeah, I agree, and for marketing people who are listening out there, same thing. If you're learning marketing, marketing is all about influencing people, which sales is also all about, just different tactics. In psychology is a massively useful fundamental base to build on when you're studying how to do these things, especially marketing, I would say, because the things they teach you in school are usually tactical, and those things change so rapidly, but people don't really change the things they do, and how they go about doing a sale changes, but the people fundamentally don't. They're the same as they were thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't really. I feel like there's no downside to studying humans and how we tick. And that's part of why I do my show and try to learn about people and how they tick. Like this is what we're talking about right now.
Yep, psychology is involved in every day-to-day activity, so
Yeah.
it cannot hurt to major in it.
So one thing I know is a big component of your job is travel. So you do
Yep.
it sounds like about 50% travel. When you're traveling, it's like fairly a fairly huge chunk of your time is spent going out there and meeting customers, but you're also active online a lot. So I see you a lot in the LinkedIn space.
Yes.
And you're in sales, you're a people person, you're going where people are. So I wanted to pivot a little and talk about your social selling experience. So this is kind of a newer, it's kind of newer, it's not new, but it's, in the world of industrial manufacturing, social selling is new. People are like, this is a new idea. They are
Yeah.
used to bringing donuts in, but they're not used to building relationships on LinkedIn. So I'm
Right.
curious what your thoughts are on social selling. And by that, again, I just mean building relationships and trying to do the sales process over LinkedIn or whatever. What your thoughts are on that and what your experience has been with that.
It's honestly been very good. And I started on LinkedIn oh my gosh, so I've had LinkedIn since I was 18. I'm 33. So for quite a while now. And I've been building a network. And like I said, I've always been kind of in the Cleveland area. So even when I would change jobs or move to a different position, whatever, I had the network to where when I started a new company, I had a decent book to work with because I already built that trust. People already knew me. So me keeping up on my social media account, especially LinkedIn, it shows people how they can use me again and again as I progress or as I change. They like working with me. So it's just been a major advantage. And for example, I was part of IDCO when I was at Brennan, and some of the IDCO group has been able to reach out to me for my current product, which is polyethylene pipe. So just that alone is huge. Just people knowing what I'm up to, what I'm doing now, and enjoying some of my goofy posts I like to share. It goes a long way, and it almost feels effortless. As long as I'm kind of updating once a week consistently, it really just, I think, brings some comfortability to my network, and they do like to know what I'm up to. So not everybody in the world needs to know what I'm up to, but some people, they want to know. So
Yeah.
I think it's just a cool tool, and it's not hard to do, and it goes a long way. So.
Yeah, I saw you had a funny post like a week ago or something like that when you spilled your coffee on yourself and posted a selfie. Yeah, that was
And
classic.
I was wearing brown, thank God.
I think those kind of posts are great, though. You probably got great engagement on it. Actually, I have your LinkedIn right now.
Yeah. And I don't always do it because I'm like, I want a bunch of likes. It's because it's relatable. Like tons of salespeople are always spilling coffee, drinking cold coffee because they get caught up in 10 different phone calls. And, it just felt so relatable to others.
Yeah,
So.
you got 214 currently likes
really?
on that post and 46 comments. So yeah, you
That's
definitely
funny.
struck a nerve there with the I spilled coffee on myself post.
Yeah. We're always going, always driving, trying to get some energy, so yeah, it was pretty funny how that happened. And it dried nicely, by the way, everyone. It dried nicely. I had 2 more meetings after that. I don't think anyone even knew.
Just added to the fragrance, right? Like
yeah. It goes well with the Coach Poppy perfume.
Yeah, exactly. Like gives us some complex notes in the nose. Yeah. So what's interesting actually in that post, kind of brings it full circle, because you're posting about being a traveling salesperson, which is like the old school methodology. And by old school, I don't mean it doesn't work, but I mean it's been around. And then you're posting a selfie about spilling your coffee in the car while driving to a customer. There's actually almost kind of an irony in there, in that you're doing a physical visit to a customer, and then doing a virtual social presence with, if you add this up together, 260 other people at the exact same time, all while enjoying a hot beverage on the road.
Right. It's called multitasking. No, you're right. That is cool too. I didn't even put it together that way. So that's an interesting outtake on that. Yeah. Just doing my day to day and being able to give people a laugh, that is pretty cool. And having that effect to be able to reach out to that many people. So I didn't even think about that.
So Nick, always the social seller, says the ability to nurture and stay on people's radar from a touch point perspective every hour of every day is magical for sales.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you would say, like, okay, your customers are out there. I think a lot of people would say, who aren't, for instance, out there yet, would say, well, are our customers really out there? I mean, this is industrial. These people are still sending faxes. Do they even have email? But no, they're out there, right? You would say, yes. I mean, I was working with these customers over here, and now I'm working with them over here. And that's because of our connection, which we kept through social, methods, I guess.
Right. Yep, absolutely. It keeps the relationship alive. Even if you're not speaking directly on a consistent basis, they're still keeping up with your life and they feel part of it. So
do you do prospecting or like development of customers at all? Do you have a system or a plan by which you do any of that socially?
Socially, not so much anymore. So I've got such a big base right now to cover. So I don't know if I told you this yet, but I cover half of Canada, so the eastern part, and then I cover Maine down to Virginia over to Nebraska, Kansas area. So I am constantly go, go, go. So I'm more at the nurturing my current customer point, but yes, there is sometimes that free time to open up and see if there's anyone else out there that could utilize a product. However, it's definitely for me been very focused on current business. So I haven't had to do too much of that cold calling prospecting as much as I did when I was younger. But I would say maybe about 5 years ago, LinkedIn was primary for that. And I was able to reach out to a lot of people and kind of give my spiel, not necessarily a pitch, just because I'm not big on the pitching. I like the natural conversation. But that definitely helped me out a lot when that was strictly the only thing I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super interesting. It's to me, that area is fascinating, how everything is changing in the world of marketing and sales, not just now, but has been for really decades, with the advent of technology and, keeping in touch and all of those kind of things, building relationships and the different methods that we have to do it with.
Yeah, and what's really cool is too, because of the network and the outreach, I'll go to a trade show, for example, to see a couple customers, and they'll be like, "Oh, I know you. I see your posts on LinkedIn," and I'm like, "That's so cool." They kind of have an idea of who I am already before I meet them, and it just gives you kind of a one-up. So staying consistent on here is definitely recommended.
Yeah. Yeah, I have experienced that myself. It does give you like a visibility, but I hate to say that word. It's so cliche, but it does, Just real quick, if you're listening to this, if you have a question or a comment for Priscilla, don't hesitate to throw it into the comments if you're watching live. Some people have already commented. That's been great. But if you're out there and you have a question or just want to say, woohoo, yay, Priscilla, don't be shy. Just throw it in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So completely changing topics. One of the things I like to do with my guests, besides just talk shop, is talk about them and kind of what at the core level for them motivates them. So there's a lot of things that this falls into, and some people say, oh, it's their faith. That's a big part of uh, what steers them. Some people say it's their family. It's their love of writing. I get all different kinds of answers, but I pose to you that question, Priscilla, which is just, what is it that keeps you going? What is it that motivates you? What's your center that I guess brings you forward into your work?
I mean, waking up in the morning, every morning, my faith is definitely what guides me and drives me. So I would definitely say that's number one by far. Second is family. I have an 11-year-old daughter. And like I said, I got married about a month ago, and we're going to be growing a family. So that pushes me to be the best I can be in every way. And I am in sales, so I'm money motivated too, and we all are. So don't be ashamed about it. That's why you're in sales. It's to make that dough. So some people are like, whoa, she said that. It's true. It's true. So those are the top three pushers. Absolutely.
We got some comments after that. Trish says, woohoo.
Yeah.
Nick again says, oh, I said visibility out loud. He's scolding me. Anna also said, as a female, are you part of any groups that have helped you excel or network in the industry?
Yeah. So when I was at Brennan Industries, I had joined the Cleveland Young Professionals group, and I think that was a great move for me because it did get me a lot of leads and a lot of ins at some places. So I think you are located there in Cleveland, so that might be something you could look into doing. And then Women in Manufacturing, that is another good group. They have one in every state. So I would definitely look into going to a couple of those meetings and seeing who you can meet there.
Good answers. So going back to your answer about motivation, just to dig into that a little bit, what's an example, if you can put some meat on the bones of, for instance, how your faith or how your family, how that has made a difference for you in your workplace? And I could give you more, but I don't want to give you too much. I just want you to say whatever you feel like.
There's a lot of stuff people can't control in life, and you need to be able to fall back on a background that's bigger than yourself, and let him handle things that you can't. So that's been a good way of me keeping the peace and keeping a positive mind, for sure, because you can't control everything in your life. You just cannot. And you really need to be able to fall back on and let him handle some things. So that's what gets me through a lot. And it helps, and it keeps me grounded, and it keeps me logical and calm. I don't act rashly. I don't act when angry. I don't act when sad. I take a step back and I really think about everything. So that's how I like to live my life.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, super powerful stuff. Priscilla, if people are looking for you, or they're looking for plastic pipe, what do they need to know? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, you get a hold of me on LinkedIn for sure, if you can't otherwise. I'll give you my cell phone. I don't care. It's 440-523-8890. So give me a call if you need anything, or a text. Yeah, I don't mind at all. I've had that number for a long time. It's been my business and personal, and I haven't had any issues with people having it. So yeah, I'm here if you need anything.
Awesome. Priscilla, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're at the 30-minute mark, so we're going to call it a day. I really appreciate you taking the time, sharing your motivator, your experience as a woman in the industry, what you've learned along the way, all things that make you the positively perfect Priscilla Patricy.
I love that. I'm going to have to put that on a t-shirt. All right. Well, thank you, John. It was a pleasure being on here, and I always love talking to you. So I had a great time, and I appreciate it.
Thanks. And everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you out there.